Zoe, Jason, date number 2, gonna be pretty damn awesome.
Yeah.
This, this Group B, is, I think, the hardest of the 2 to call. We've got 4 teams who, quite honestly, any of the 4 could go through. I mean, Meet Your Makers, you'd probably say maybe an underdog here, alternate, maybe they're with them. Then you've got CJ Enters coming out of Korea, CLG.eu, who've got a lot of fans here today, I've noticed already. But either way, are gonna be an awesome day.
Yeah, we have a great story behind today, too. With Meet Your Makers, they're trying to get their first breakthrough win. They got it at Singapore, but they kind of want to keep the steam rolling. Alternate as well. I mean, they kind of just been around EPS, haven't really made a breakthrough in major events, but hopefully they'll be able to do it today. And I'm kind of excited to see if that'll happen.
Well, we're going to throw it back over to Zoe, and we're going to get the games underway.
Thank you very much, guys. And of course, apart from those 2 awesome guys, we have 3 more awesome guys. And of course, I'm talking about our experts, which are going to be Demon, Zenon, and of course, RNA.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. We are live and we are backstage. This is the Cool Kids desk. And joining me, of course, is Daniel Zenon Klein, also known as Zenon the Stoic, and Aranea, formerly SK Gaming, and now looking for a new team. So if you've got a team, ladies and gentlemen, this man needs a job. That's why he's here. He's normally the homeless kid from Spain, but today he's with us.
The homeless, the troll guy, the ash, so many names.
You have so many names.
So many names.
He's from the jungle, ladies and gentlemen. What do you expect? So, first up, big game straight away. CLG.eu come into this one as a backup. Last minute call, but they have come in, and they're a huge team, and now they're already favorites for the group.
I would say CLG.eu is going to be a favorite in any tournament they enter, even though they've only really won the DreamHack.
They only won one.
That's the only thing that I went back and looked it up a little bit earlier. I was like, seriously? It feels like they should have won more than that, but they placed very, very well at pretty much any event they go to. Last minute sub, but I guess these guys want to start ramping up for Season 3 already. So I wouldn't be surprised if they'd been practicing at least a little bit more than they have recently. The other thing that I want to point out, though, is their first game is going to be against Meet Your Makers, correct?
Yes, so the Singapore champions.
Right, and I keep saying this, do not count out Meet Your Makers. Don't run them even as an underdog in this group. Personally, my call is going to be CLG.eu, unless they're completely slumping, they're going to take this group. And I would say Meet Your Makers is going to be the second spot, and CJ Enders is going to have a really tough time if they want to make it out of the group.
But, I mean, the big thing we always say about Meet Your Makers is they are a huge level 1 fight team. So we'll see what they get in the picks and bans. But, how much of a disadvantage is it? When you have that level 1 fight, they get like 1 or 2 kills. And there they are on your screen. There's some big boys, I tell you, big Polish boys out there. Apart from Sharo up the front there, he's all the hair. Everybody else, he's got more hair than everyone, so you can easily spot him. Kubon, Makata, Makla, and Libik, the brothers actually, Makata and Makla. But they're a strong level 1 team. They will go on generally all in level 1. Now, it can backfire pretty hard.
But usually you don't need to get like kills on level 1. They used to like invade, and even if you go back, they don't get kills, but they will get like 1 buff always. They will steal one of your buffs, and then he will go back to the jungle, so they already have some advantage.
And if anyone knows about stealing the buffs of CLG.eu, it's you.
Yep.
EU regionals managed to take them.
Actually, it's the first time. Yeah, the first time Demon says something positive, not trolling me.
It's okay.
I feel so lucky today.
But he's
still warming up.
You managed to take all of their buffs, and CLG. So everybody knows who CLG is. There they are on your screen. Is pretty famous. Kripo almost got the microphone up his nose there, but there he is.
God, there you go.
God, he looks like a really bad EU rapper, doesn't he? Right at the front there.
Actually, Snoopy's doing it.
But
Snoopy is doing.
Snoopy doing the snare. They're all trying to do the snare. They're all trying to do the snare at you. So it's obviously Frog and Crepo, Snoopy, Wicked, and Yellow Pete. And some of these guys have been traveling for a long time. And I spoke to them yesterday. I know for a fact Wicked hasn't been home yet. He's still been at Yellow Pete. So these guys have actually been traveling for 5.5 months without being at home. They've only just gone home this week. So
that sucks.
How much of a practice schedule would that be? The fact you've only just got home to your parents for 5.5 months. You surely want to sit back and relax.
Yeah, still, I feel like CLG.eu is one of the most successful team on Europe with M5, right? Yeah. It's like M5, CLG.eu is like winning or at least going everywhere.
They've always top 3 placed, and obviously the OGN Spring, the OGN Summer, sorry, they got second. They should have won it. They threw it.
Yeah, man, they pretty much threw it. And not. I thought, there we have the bans and picks.
Well, we do have the bans and picks underway. You can see them on your screen there. So it is
I was
gonna be
going
Meal
to
Makers.
I was going to do my prediction, but
Well,
they completely put it before I can say anything.
And they're fast bans and picks, which means these teams are prepared for it. They've practiced against each other. They know what they're expecting. So Aurelia, Nunu, and Rengar being banned out. Obviously, Aurelia being taken away from Wicked. It's kind of what he always wants to play. Doesn't get it. Although, interestingly, Season 3 is all about Riven, apparently. But Diana, Zyra, and Orianna being banned out by CLG. Orianna being taken away from Sharu, and Katarina insta-locked.
We saw Charu with Karina at Singapore.
Snowball.
He's doing some crazy things there. And that's another thing I wanted to say. MYM do have a very strong level 1 fight, and they have a very strong level 1 strategy. But the game that amazed me most was a game they were 10-2 behind against, I think it was Itagimas. And or might have been Absolute Legends, yes, Event Potion. And they just played it very calmly. So on top of having a very strong early game, they also have that coordination. They can play the long game, as can CLG.eu.
They had a Twisted Fate. It was 7-1-3. I think it was Ititakimasu, I think, but they were against. But
something it's surprising me now in the bans and pick is MYM ban Rengar against CLG.eu. I never seen any guy of CLG playing Rengar.
It's certainly not Snoopy.
Probably Froggen is the only one that can play Rengar, because I never see Wicked and I never see Snoopy. But then the most strange thing is that they ban Rengar and they let open Anivia.
But yeah,
they did leave open Anivia,
Yep.
so we could be seeing an Anivia. Maybe they want to play against
Yeah,
Anivia.
of course, they are
They're
baiting
Yeah.
that pick because they feel comfortable.
They've also left Lee Sin open,
Yep,
that's true.
as well as
that's
Jarvan,
strange.
Or Corki.
and the famous unveiled, not to be unveiled yet, actually. I don't think they've played
There's a
him in
new
a
one?
tournament yet. There is another one that,
All
that
right.
Froggen really wants to play in a tournament, so maybe this is the last tournament of Season 2. This could well be the one they unleash him in, but you can see what going to come out with. They're going to just counter it at picks there. I think it's going to be the AD carry, probably a Corki being locked in as well, maybe. What would you go with normally in this picks?
Against Lulu, Ethereal, Sona is by far the best pick you can do, as well as Soraka. Like, you need some sustain on lane, you need healing on lane, because Lulu is all about like poking all the time, like dealing so much damage, and you need to heal constantly. So Sona, Soraka are the best picks against Lulu, most probably. I'm not super, but that's my thoughts. And then we have Corki, is probably the most standard pick, most safe pick you can do against anything, right? You don't know the top laner, you don't know the jungler, you don't know the mid. They can try to counter pick any AD like Vayne. If you go Vayne, they can go like really much CC on you, and they can like try to kill you easy. But with Corki, safe pick. You can always pick it without knowing any other pick. It's fine.
And not to get confused, guys, that both these teams are obviously sponsored by Razer, so that's why you can see them both looking similar in similar outfits, because they're both wearing their Razer jackets, which is kind of confusing for some. But
there it is.
well, we could maybe see Xin Zhao. Fiddlesticks Jungle's what Snoopy's been playing quite a bit
it's
of.
in Summit.
It's
in Summit.
I know it is. That's
And
the secret
he-
champion that I was not going to say.
He has played him.
It is.
He has already played him in the qualifier.
There it is.
He's already played him with qualifiers. So
Did
I
he?
don't think. Yeah, I don't think.
I
it's
played
entirely
against
simple.
him.
Basically,
I played
IPL 5 is like, I want to play Xin Zhao, I want to play Xin Zhao. Then they were just, basically they just went, okay, we'll let you play Java, not Xin Zhao.
Right.
We give you the option, play one of your backups. Wow, and Olaf Udi have been locked straight in.
Udi, of course, Mokate.
What will Wicked take on that top lane against, I guess?
I will say
Could be
Malphite.
Olaf. Malphite, of course, yes.
But Olaf is a counter to Malphite, but still, I feel like Wicked is...
Wicked hates Malphite.
Yeah, but I mean, I want to say, or probably Sen as well. It could be Sen, it could be Malphite. Still, I think
Well,
Shen
Olaf-
would fit the bruiser set.
Olaf is a counter to Malphite, and there we go. And it will probably be Xin Zhao top then.
yeah, and then it could be the Lee Sin in the middle, because I've not seen Wicked play a lot of Lee Sin. Have you?
No.
No.
I've not seen
there
him
you
play a
go.
lot of Xin Zhao
There you
either.
go. That's
okay,
more
okay.
reasonable.
That's
That's-
Wicked then.
And this is actually, I would say, probably my only criticism against CLG.eu is that actually I think they have a small champion pool in that top
In
lane.
top lane,
Yes,
yeah, absolutely.
Is the main problem of CLG.
and it could
I mean,
be,
with Irelia, he's a beast. He's
Yeah,
the
absolutely
most
unbeatable.
famous Irelia in the world, and he can do whatever he wants with Irelia. He's the master of Irelia, we can say. I remember when we played the first Sebit, we got invited. We were SK, and he was the only guy in the world trying to play Irelia. The only guy in the world. It was like he was the only one trying to play Irelia, and we were like, nah, don't play Irelia. He's a bad champion. And now we realize how many nerfs she got. So she was already so powerful, and we didn't let him play it.
Yeah.
So it's amazing. And he's famous Irelia. He's also good Zen, good Malphite, and good Rumble. But they are not at the level of his Irelia, and it's probably a really small champion pool, like probably 5-6 champions he can play at a high level. So let's see how it's gonna work. I still think Rumble is really good against Olaf. You can zone Olaf really fine, but still I prefer Olaf for team fights and for late game.
Last minute thoughts, who do you think is going to win it?
CLG.eu.
I would have to give it to CLG as well. It looks strong. I don't know. Toward the end of Season 2, yes, there's been some jungle fiddle, but I honestly did not expect jungle fiddle to make a comeback before the introduction of the machete. Because
it's something he has been running. He did it in the Katowice qualifiers, but of course they were on Season 3.
Yeah,
but he did do it in the cross-realm qualifiers as well. I have seen him playing it a few times, so it's nothing completely new to him.
He's slow in the jungle, though, isn't he?
No, he's not. He's not. Really? I mean, he's not the faster, but also he can run without potions. That's something really good. And the other point is, if you go Bruiser mid lane, you need some AP.
Right. Yeah,
and without deciding Rumble top, you need some AP on jungle, and it's perfect. Fiddle is the most AP jungler.
Which actually means, you know, they've synergized their champion to go with Froggen changing away from the AP and getting straight into it. So there they are. You can see them on the screen. You can see them starting to play. So ladies and gentlemen, let's get over to the casters, Joe Miller and Jason. But I love you, Captain.
Just had to, Demon.
So here we are then, Meet Your Makers versus CLG.eu, game number 1 of Group B of the Intel Extreme Masters Cologne. We know it's already been said over at the Cool Kids desk how good Meet Your Makers are, how aggressive they can be at level 1. CLG currently pretty spread along this top side of the jungle there, so maybe anticipating something going down on that side from Meet Your Makers' point of view. They've actually got 3 the bottom lane plus. Katarina is on this bottom side currently for MYM. Makata with his Udyr. I think he's one of the only people that still really play Udyr, to be honest, at this top level. So we'll see how he does with that one today. Kuban, of course, with Olaf in that top lane. Doesn't look, at least for now, like they're going to be pushing up there. But I wonder if we're going to be seeing a lane switch coming in here, Jason, because Sona is on the top side, and we've also got Corki headed in there. And we know that Olaf in that 1v2 is not half bad.
Well, a little bit currently only sitting on 1 ward right now, since we did put one down towards the blue buff just to see for any early ganks or any aggression. But yeah, we could see that lane swap. And Joe, Charu on Katarina, how many times are we going to end up saying that today?
Well, if you're a Meet Your Makers fan, you're probably hoping that we'll say nothing but Katarina through this one, but we'll have to see how that one goes. Looking forward to see what Snoopy can show us here in the jungle with that Fiddlesticks once again. And we've just seen CLG there checking that bush in the top side of the river, and they are going to be going in for this one. Actually, Charu there just leashing that blue buff out. They're actually not going to see him. Actually, Charu did just see the tail end of that push coming around, but blue buff already being done there by Makata. Nothing for CLG to be taken away.
Yeah, well, now they still have those 2 creeps there left. They have to clear that out so they'll have the timer. But Frog in the mid lane on Xin Zhao, as they were saying at the expert desk, I mean, he always wants to play it. We typically see Jarvan or Lee Sin. I'm really curious to see how well he does here. And against a Katarina, I mean, you have your own interrupt. You have really good upfront damage. If you see Charu Shumpo in, you can easily put a lot of aggression onto him. But top lane, we are seeing a dual lane switch. So we're going to have solos at the bottom and the dual lanes at the top. And where do you think all the actions are really going to go down in terms of lanes?
I think this middle lane, especially once we hit, level 6, precisely, that Charu is going to be playing aggressive here. Interested to see how Froggen does against Charu. We know how good Charu is with his Katarina. We've seen it time and time again over at Intel Extreme Masters Singapore. One thing that's interesting here in this, which is the bottom lane now, obviously Rumble versus Olaf, is that Kuban did take away those big golems right at the start to give him that little advantage with that one, and he went back home to heal after that, actually picking up a mana pot, plus a good amount of health pots and a ward as well to keep him safe in this bottom lane.
And speaking of Olaf, he actually ran Exhaust for this game, which you normally see in Ghost Ignite or Ghost Teleport. Because of Snoopy, when he ever ults in, they want to exhaust him, really limit that damage just so they can handle the AoE. But we do have a gank coming down the spot lane and a teleport.
Yeah, that teleport going to come in onto the wall. They're going to be looking to camp out Wicked here, and that is a low HP Wicked and a first blood going over onto Olaf. And it's not an uncommon strategy, I'm sad to say, against CLG, which is camp Wicked out and put the pressure on him. We saw it time and time again. That was a lot of teams' kind of secret thing, not really that secret, but their thing against Wicked and against CLG.eu is to have the jungler camping him, pretty much the whole early game to throw him off his game, to stop him getting that CS in there and feeding the kills to his opponent in that lane. And so far, working out nicely for Meet Your Makers. And as we said earlier, this group, in my opinion, is a lot wider open than the other one, the Group A that we saw yesterday. And I think if Meet Your Makers can start off with a win here against CLG, they could certainly be a team that tops this group.
Yeah, very true indeed. And Makati being very aggressive, like we were saying before, one of the few junglers left in the game that actually still plays as Sudir, but he plays it so well as you see him right now. Going for invade, going to be taking away some race, and really trying to limit Snoopy from getting level 6, because that's where his ganks really become deadly. As we do see him in the mid lane, trying to go for counter, but in the top lane, as you're seeing, a lot of harass coming down, but not really too much damage in the end, because they have that sustain on Meet Your Makers. And CLG, I've actually seen Cribble playing a lot of Lulu lately. And with Yellow Pete, they actually have really good synergy in terms of how they kind of run the lane, but Livic, wow, getting pretty low up there.
Yeah, we are actually going to be seeing Makata coming around this backside. There was a ward in that tri-bush, but I'm not sure they've seen him. There's a flash stun. Yellow Pete going to get destroyed. Livic gets the kill. Not the ideal situation for it to go over to the support, but they've got rid of that AD out of the lane for a while. That's going to give Makla some nice free time to have his farm train going. And Makata taking a hit from the turret, which I don't think he really meant to do. But that's 2-0 for Meet Your Makers. A nice little early gold lead. And they may even be able to have a turret away with Makata in there as well to strengthen it up.
And we all know Meet Your Makers has been a really strong early game team, but then you have CLG, who's a very, very, very strong late game team, and they have the kind of composition for it if they need to. But can they really, take their advantage they have right now and push for it for the rest of the game? That's the kind of thing that separates a good team from a great team. But first turret will go down in favor of them, so they have that little bit of a 2,000 gold lead. I was trying to count there a little bit. But still, I mean, CS kind of pretty even. The mid lane, I'm surprised to see the advantage so far ahead for Charu right now.
Yeah, 33-28. He did have to go back that little bit earlier on. Obviously, the AD carries difference is the real big thing. Is 37-23 in favor of Corki. He's already picked up his phage in that one. And obviously then, with Meet Your Makers getting that kill, taking down the turret, they are going to send their AD carry and support back into this bottom lane and try and put that pressure on there as well. We'll see what Kuban does. They may even think about doing a dragon here. We can see that Makata working his way down onto the bottom side of his jungle. Just realized that Snoopy took away that big wraith a little bit earlier on while he was in this top lane. But will they end up trying to think about going for a dragon at this stage of it? Currently, it's 8,800 to 6,900 gold, so a nice little lead built up for Meet Your Makers. And these first group games are always, well, obviously they're important, that goes without saying, but always difficult to really gauge because of the whole warmed up factor, It's the first one of the day for everyone's Wicked here, going to come under a little bit of a pressure, will flash himself away. And now they know that this bottom lane is coming in there as well. But there are actually 4 in the bottom lane, and CLG might end up losing another tower from this one as Kuban is going to go in there. Makata does get the stun down, but Snoopy, for now, managing to escape with this one. Did have to use his flash to get out of there to stay safe. Well, Meet Your Makers are hammering away on the turret. Katarina would come down there as well. They've still got quite a lot of minions in there, and that will be the second turret of this game going down already for Meet Your Makers, playing a very aggressive match in this one and really taking it to CLG. And when we talked about strategies against CLG, camping Wicked out is one of them, but playing hyper aggressive against them seems to be another strategy that really works out.
Yeah, and it's completely working in the favor I've just seen right now. And I mean, they want to end the game early. That's exactly what they're going for. I love that great push on the top lane. They got the turret, and then they just grouped up at the bottom lane. Sometimes we see the lanes kind of swap. You see the solo lanes go to the top lanes, and the AD carries drop down to bottom. But instead, they're just trying to get as many turrets, get that gold lead they can. And items, I mean, they're starting to get in their favor just a little bit. Charu in the top lane taking a lot of damage, though, over to Yellow Pete, but we'll be farming under that turret. And we have a lot of GP10 actually being built across the board, which is kind of surprising considering the advantage that Meet Your Makers has. Why not build into an item and then push that aggression?
Well, one thing that I think if Meet Your Makers win this game, it'd be without a doubt called an upset, that's for sure. The way that CLG have been playing in the past months, it feels like they've been on the road at every single tournament almost that we've seen from them. However, Meet Your Makers, they won at Intel Extreme Masters Singapore. Definitely not the strongest field of teams that they played against to win that event. But don't forget, they also finished second at World Cyber Games back in 2011. That was the first real wake-up call, I think. And Meet Your Makers Makers ever since then have been a team that could definitely have turned it on and won events. And I'm just wondering whether this could be their real breakout event, especially if they start off with a win against CLG. That'll certainly be one that goes down in the history books as Meteor Makers now pushing for turret number 3. There are 2 defending here with Xin Zhao and with Olaf. There's the ultimate use out of Xin Zhao, but they're not finished just yet. There's the exhaust put down onto Kuban. Wicked comes in. Well, Kuban not finished, actually has his ultimate running there. Well, they weren't able to finish off a kill, but they've done a lot of damage. Yellow Pete here in the top as well, getting pressured down by Charu. And that is the danger with this Katarina. She's got to bounce on top of you and put that damage out, which, to be honest, Ezreal with just a Doran's Blade is not going to be able to survive. And Meteor Makers constantly pressuring here. This middle turret down to around about half HP, but I think CLG will be able to hold on for at least another wave as Froggen comes back in.
They're being so aggressive right now. They're just shoving it into their face. We see Snoopy right now. He just hit level 5 off his own blue buff. He's so far behind. When he gets to ultimate, CLG will finally have a chance in these team fights if they can kind of synergize that Rumble ultimate and the Lulu ultimate on top of that. But Meteor Maker's looking so solid right now, and you hear him behind us. They're just so energetic. It sounds like SK's behind us yelling. And they really want this win, and why not? If you get the first win in the group stage, you'll be feeling so confident for the rest.
Red buff here going to be taken away by Froggen. Makata actually coming in towards the middle, going to get the stun down here on towards Crepo. There's the axe and the teleport out of Charu. Actually will get polymorphed up there, but are they going to be able to go for any kind of fight? Doesn't look like it as Makata out of mana. Kuban pretty low on mana as well, but they're all 5 again, Meteor Makers, in this middle lane. Froggen's going to have to come down to try and stop them with that one. They've got good poke with the axe there, with the bouncing blades from Katarina, with Corki poking in there. He is now level 6, so has his rockets available to keep them away from that turret. So not an easy one to hold out for here for CLG.
And one thing Meteor Makers has to be really careful of, if they make a mistake right here, being this hyper-aggressive, they could easily lose the game just off of that because it will snowball so hard against them. But they still are just bringing the aggression. We have the hunting guys down in Katarina, so Charu had that 49 penetration already. So let me make sure just 49. Yep, not written differently than that. And we do have still this 2 GP10 on Makati, on Olaf as well. Corki with the Phage, not even going into Doran's Blade since they took that tower so early. Going to be going into that Triforce, and we see Yellow Pete on the other side. 0-2 right now, which I don't think I've ever seen Yellow Pete go 0-2, like just in the beginning of the game.
Well, there's no real surprise from how he's gone. Yeah, the pressure's been pretty sick so far from MYM. But you can see CLG's response to that one. Top lane, Wicked's winning that one on farm. Middle lane, yeah, it's only a small one, but still nonetheless winning that one. And we know CLG are one of the best early teams, but here comes a crescendo and they're going to dive in. There's the 1 kill. Rumble ultimate came down, but it wasn't enough. Can they get in now and finish off Yellow Pete? Kuban throws the axe out. They'll be happy with 2 kills from that one, and that will leave them 5-0 in the lead. 4,000 gold. Even more than that right now is the current advantage that MYM have, and it looks like they want to take turret number 3 of this game, that middle outer turret. We've talked about before timelessly about how important this middle turret is, and there it is, taken down, and Meteor Makers are in such a commanding position. Froggen actually setting up a bit of an ambush here for anyone that may come through. He's got 2 levels on Kuban, plus that red buff as he just literally doesn't hear me and walks away completely from that area. And Makata going to go back about the farming. I mean, all of them must have a decent amount of gold on them there. As we do see now, Corki picking up that Zeal as well. As you said, a lot of GP10 still for Makata and also for Kuban in this top lane. Both got Heart of Gold, both got Philo Stone. Katarina in the middle, Salt Shoes, haunting guys, going that full penetration build that we're so used to seeing these days as well. And overall, looking very strong. I mean, it's 5,000 gold now.
Yeah, and Meteor Makers has such a strong burst team. I mean, if you notice right there in that last fight, we saw the flash crescendo come out of Libic, and then they just all piled on anyone they could find for CLG. And you have Charu hopping on them, popping his ultimate. You have Mako with his phosphorus bomb and his rockets. And then you have Makati to keep them there with his stun and bear stance. And not to mention Q-Bone, Undertow, and the Reckless Swing doing that true damage. It's really hard with how squishy CLG is right now to compete against that at the moment until they get a few more items to actually tank them in a fight. But still, Meteor Makers trying to farm up right now, and that's since they were grouped up in the mid lane, they did lose a lot of farm, as you did see Froggen was getting quite far ahead in the top lane. Actually, as he was farming the top lane, we do see Wicked still with the CS advantage, and the AD carry is pretty much even, but still 5-0, 19.3 thousand gold to 14.2. Meteor Maker's looking very solid right now, and we might even see another play on another turret or Dragon, which should be up very shortly.
Yeah, about 30 seconds, I think, 4 Dragons coming there. We've actually got the timers here, so I should probably take notice of them. I forgot they were there the whole day yesterday, so trying to work stuff out in my head, which, if you've ever watched any of my casts, you'll know that I can't count for toffee, so
it's not
good
true,
that
though.
we've got them up there. But that Dragon will be coming up here soon, and that's something that MYM certainly won't be wanting to give away with that kill advantage, the I2 advantage that they've got running in there as well. That's not what they want to do. There's an Oracle as well on Makata, and they're going to use that to clear out this jungle areas. We are seeing Wicked now may have a bit of problems coming in, puts his ulti down, he's losing a lot of HP. Look at the crescendo to stop the rest of CLG coming around. We will see Makata go in there. Froggen has the ultimate right now on him from Lulu, but Kuban doing masses of damage. Charu is in there as well, finally will get exhausted up, and they did take a 1-for-1 there. Rest of CLG though escaping with hardly any HP, and they need to be real careful because there was a ward there. There goes Charu over the top. Again, can't quite get over onto Yellow Peak, but that reset did come in, and now the kill is going to come down onto Yellow Peak from Kuban this time, and Makler not finished just yet. They know Crepo's position. Will he go in for him, or will he just be happy with what they've got with those 3 kills coming down? Dragon is there. Kuban not got the health to tank it up right now, but again, Meteor Makers turning on the aggression, and it was all about these wards, which myself and Demon saw Meteor Makers back in the early days, 2011, and they were one of the first teams around to really be using these pink wards, and we saw them here. That gave them all the vision of that counter push from CLG, who were low HP themselves, trying to stop that blue of being taken.
And that fight, you mentioned it during the actual fight, Libic, that crescendo was so spot on. It allowed Wicked to be caught off completely. Unfortunately, Makata did go down, did lose that Oracle, but I mean, 1 death for the 2 or 3 kills they picked up right there. I believe it was 3, yeah. So they're obviously not going to care too much about that, but Meteor Maker's still looking very solid. Dragon still is up right now, but we do have them heading over towards it. And CLG, I mean, with the amount of coverage you see on the map for Meteor Makers at the bottom side of this jungle, I mean, it's just covering... Oh, actually, I thought I saw a couple of words anyway. Anyways, they will be going in for this Dragon. They will be able to spot CLG coming in either way. And the gold is just really getting out of hand. I mean, we must have a GA down on Char right now. And we see Olaf going for Zerker Greaves. Don't really see Olaf go for that too much, but as an Aegis on top of that, just to help out with the team to stay a little bit tanky since they are being so aggressive. The farm, I mean, 15 minutes in, do you typically see these numbers on carries? No.
No, not particularly.
You see at least 100 most of the time.
I mean, it's 1 kill that's come for CLG. They've not been able to pick up a turret as of yet. And that's going to be the real worrying factor. Is actually Wicked having to use his ultimate in this bottom lane to try and force Makler away. But again, Meteor Maker's just going to be piling on the pressure, trying to keep the vision as high as they can so that they can push these lanes out wherever possible.
Yeah, and Meteor Makers, they kind of slowed down a little bit on their pushing. They've just been trying to team fight, trying to get a little bit extra gold, and they can complete a couple of major items. But still, we have Makler and Libic at the bot lane still pushing away. And we have Kubong. He's in a position to really roam around to any lane he needs to. He's sitting in the middle kind of a little bit. If Meteor Maker's in the bot lane gets attacked, he can easily run over there with that Ghost if he needs to. But their spread is really good. Wicked, I mean, he's having a hard time farming here, as you do see Makler trying to poke as much as possible. And this turret hasn't really been poked down too much. Snoopy there has his ultimate up, but doesn't have that flash if they do potentially want to engage. However, we do see Crepo coming down into this lane just to help out. And Char was still farming up at the top lane, which is kind of surprising. You know, with this lead, you want to see them team fight as much as possible, and yet they're still trying to farm and still trying to make CLG make a mistake.
And they're going to spot them here thanks to this ward, pink ward put down there by CLG. That will clear out a bit of vision from Meteor Makers. But if we look at the goal between the two supports, 3,900 to 2,800, that is a lot of wards difference coming in there. Double GP10 obviously already finished by Libic. And here we go, pushing again. More damage to come down onto the turret. Meanwhile, in the middle, Kuban actually pressuring Yellow Pete, who's forced to arcane shift away there to be safe. Makata coming around to this bottom lane as well. Doesn't want to be losing that Oracle for a second time, but they can almost afford... I mean, you never want to give Oracles away, that's for sure, but the lead that they have, it's not the prime thing that's on their mind right now,
it's not the end of the world.
For sure.
But they will make a push on this tower, getting down to half health. However, they could be engaged on pretty hard here. To have Yellow Pete coming around into this lane. Meteor Maker's still looking pretty healthy. They have Sona there to able to heal them up if they need to. Still, they're not able to get that turret yet. They need to group up as 5. Char is still on the top and has a teleport. And Joe, we mentioned, you know, if you run teleport, you have to make it useful. We did see Charo helping get that first blood at that bot lane onto Wicked, and it played very well. However, after that, not really much teleport used too often, but still, they are trying to 3-man push this. They're just knocking at the door of CLG and forcing them to defend these turrets.
Yep, actually, since Xiaoye being pinged in the middle, I'm going to go around to him because Kubon and Froggen are going to go head-to-head. There's the ulti popped out by Kubon. He comes back in, actually will die, but there is Katarina going at it. Not huge amounts of damage done to Froggen as Makata now coming around this bottom side. Should be able to get the stun in there, and actually, we did see Froggen go back in, but that was his life. And that's another kill for Katarina, 4-0-3 now. Really snowballing hard in this one. What damage did they do to that turret? It's less than half HP remaining, and Meet Your Makers now, well, I guess they're sat on quite a lot of gold between him. 1,000 on 1,300 on Corki, so he's probably going to get himself home, finish off that Trinity Force by now. And then they've just got another power spike coming back in towards that next fight, and there it is. Trinity Force done for Corki.
And not to mention Charu, he's going to finish that Abyssal Scepter, going to have 69 spell penetration now. I mean, Froggen with that ultimate was able to keep his MR up high enough to, not take too much damage, but obviously saw in the end he died. And there it is. And, Meet Makers with these key items finished. You currently look on CLG and no major item finished except that Haunting Guise. They could force these fights. And I'm a little surprised they haven't even tried going for a Baron yet. Yeah, it's a little bit early. But with that Oracle, with how little gold that they know Crepo has, they easily could bait it out and force CLG to get a team fight that they don't want to engage in.
We can see that blue buff being done by Makata. Last time that blue buff came up, we saw a massive fight for it. This time, CLG not in a position to even think about challenging for it. And you can see the amount of wards that they've got down on this top side. There was the Ezreal ultimate just used to make sure that Baron wasn't actually being started by Meet Your Makers. Kubon now with that Aegis, with the Giant's Belt, and those double GP10s in there. He is very tanky already. 3-1-4 he currently has. Is behind in CS, but the kill's more than making up for it. Plus those global objectives that they've managed to take. 3 Taras down to 0, and obviously they have had all the dragons up until this point in the game.
And you're mentioning their ward coverage in the bombs on the jungle, and that just shows the strategy they're kind of go for. They want to make a push on this mid and bottom turret. If they get that bottom turret, they have a lot of free control over Baron, and they're just poking this turret as much as possible. You see Lipic every once in a while just comes in with the Q, with the 3 proc of it. Charu taking some damage from Froggen though, but he has his team in pursuit.
Yeah, we see there, actually Froggen will get himself away from that one. Didn't want to stay too involved, but Meet Your Makers with minions are going to be going down for this turret. Froggen low HP, which is maybe why they're thinking we can have this one. Rumble ulti comes in, here comes Snoopy, he's ultied up though, couldn't get away there. He was stunned completely by that crescendo. Again, a great one coming out from Libic. Can they find any more? Kubon will get ignited here by Yellow Pete, but I still think the Meet Your Makers could turn this one around, especially with Charu off towards the side. Will they try and get around? Yellow Pete is going low. There was Charu diving in on towards Crepo, who used that ultimate to keep his teammates, keep Rumble alive in that fight. And they're still poking back and forth here. Health is low pretty much across the board, and Meet Your Makers decide enough is enough. Let's back away from this one. We've made it 10-2 here. We've got 4 turrets. We're almost at a 10,000 gold lead. And I can't see, I mean, CLG, I've said this I don't know how many times as a caster, CLG are never going to come back from this one. Prime example being against Moscow 5 back at DreamHack Summer, where me and Demon had that incredibly long game full of all sorts of awesomeness, but more importantly just an incredibly long game that CLG managed to somehow come back from. So you can never count this team out. Doesn't matter how far behind they are on gold, they somehow still seem to have a chance, but their team this time around isn't really the best set up to stop that happening, in my opinion. I mean, that whole factor that they had Nivea in there in that last game was a really big factor in how they got back and stopped Moscow 5 pushing down turrets. They just don't have that on this side.
Every team fight I look at, Meet Your Makers right now, Libic, his back has got to be hurting. Every crescendo has been so spot on. He's definitely going to be the MVP here. Dragon to be up again for Meet Your Makers. They're going to get the 3rd one of the game. And this gold lead really get out of hand. A lot of items going to be completed very soon. We have the Giants put on Olaf now. And you said earlier, Corki with that Trinity Force, we have Katarina. Actually, almost enough gold for that GA. When that happens, I mean, they cannot stop her, period. We do have Froggen pick up his own red here. Will be engaging, but just going to back out instead.
Yeah, but we see Charu going in there. Doesn't go full combo onto Froggen. Happy to take him down a little bit lower as Meet Your Makers now pushing in towards turret number 5 here in the middle. Makata trying to get in there and stun Yellow Pete up. That doesn't quite work out. The rest of CLG pushing from the other side. Ezreal ulti doesn't do too much, and they're going to focus in. Snoopy going quite low, forced to flash away. Froggen is actually recalling in the bush towards that top side. But MYM again, they've taken their objective here. They wanted turret number 5, and they've got it. 36,000 to 25,000 gold. Incredible play out of the polls.
And take a look at levels a little bit. We do have Snoopy still really far behind in the jungle. He's 3 levels behind at the moment, and he needs that level 2 ultimate. If they want to have any hopes, he needs to, well, first of all, get his ultimate off, not get stunned by Libic, and then have level 2 of it, because the damage they have right now, CLG just can't compete. We've seen MYM Makers, even after taking a turret, taking a lot of damage from it, taking a lot of damage from CLG, they still push, and yet they're still survive. You see Maka here, going to be going for blue buff, getting that extra mana for those rockets, and all they're really doing is, I mean, a standard turret push. They poke it down as much as possible with that Trinity Force proc with Sona, and then they sit back. But gosh, MYM Makers, I have not seen them play like this in such a long time, and it's really good to see new teams coming up.
Yeah, and I think, you know, Intel Extreme Masters Singapore, we mentioned it before, yeah, not against teams like CLG, CJ Enters, Alternate in their group, but I think that gave them a much-needed confidence boost to, you know, just to prove to themselves that they can win tournaments and that they're going to be a threat to these bigger teams coming forward. They're doing a very standard thing that we've seen MYM Makers do right from the very start, when Kubon wasn't even in the lineup, when they had Kikis in this top lane, when they, back in 2011 in that World Cyber Games, they always warded incredible amounts, and they're doing that again. I mean, if I just look at the vision here, that's what they can see currently, which is the entire CLG jungle. They can see everything that's going on that side of the map. CLG, well, there's their vision. They can't see anything. They are pinned back currently and are just having to farm up as much as they possibly can. We can see it, MYM taking that jungle away time and time again. Blue buff here going to be done by Makata for the 3rd time in a row, actually, since that blue buff has been coming up. And they're just in a very, very strong position right now, which, to be honest with you, they're going to have to throw this game to lose it.
Yeah, and then you were mentioning the wars, but the snowball factor currently for Libic. I mean, he's 3-0-4. We haven't even looked at the kills in that sense. Corky's 0-0-6, but because of how many kills he has, how many assists, and you look at his entire team, everyone is buying wards. They want to be able to see where CLG is going just to catch him off in their own jungle. But CLG finally going for a push here as 5. I don't really think they have the tankiness or the damage to really go against MYM Makers, though.
No, certainly. We saw, you know, that Fiddlesticks ultimate in that last fight, which could have been a big deal from CLG if they've got in there with it. I mean, they were really low after the fight anyway, so with that Fiddle ultimate in there as well, it could have been a different story. But again, the crescendo came out of Libic and stopped it all from happening. Did the same in this top side of the CLG jungle, and now MYM Makers walking their way over towards that Baron. There is the ward in the back, which may stop them going for it. They spot the ward, going to carry on with the Baron for now. What are CLG going to do to come back from this one? Krepo actually coming out. That's Charu a little bit further forward than his team. Didn't want to go out there without that tanky front line to really help him. They back away. Baron now down to 2,500 HP as there comes the crescendo. Only on towards Frog, and Ezreal ulti comes in as well. There is the shutdown, but the rest of CLG are taking a lot of damage. Charu going help for Leather, going to flash in there. Takes down Yellow Pete. Double kill for Corky, and that will be an ace for MYM Makers. 5 men out, losing only the support, who ironically was shut down since it was 3-0-9 in there, and they are going to kick off Baron. Let's see if they can finish it. Makla is pretty low, but he's got Kubon and Makata there, both with him to offer that tankiness to get that job done. And they are looking so ridiculously good. And I said at the start of the game, this is a real chance for MYM Makers. First game of the day, CLG, I'm not sure how much they're practicing. I know MYM Makers were the first, if not one of the first 2 teams that arrived today for Group B. They arrived very early on in the day. I actually got an email in my from the ESL staff saying, can we let MYM Makers in? Because the doors are all locked. So that's how early they were here. Then I think the staff weren't really ready for that. So they put in a lot of time this morning to get warmed up. At which point, when I came in, CLG was still just 2 guys. Only Krepo and Froggen were here. So MYM Makers just showing that that bit of warm-up here in the day can go a very, very long way. But overall, their style has been very impressive, and they've earned this massive lead that they have now.
Oh, Char on the bot lane going to be getting caught for Froggen here. Does get Ignite. Has that G available, though.
And Shumpo's away.
You hear the scream as you know he got away.
Actually laughing behind us, I think, there, Charu.
But yeah, MYM Makers definitely. Yesterday they were here. I think they watched every single game, just scouting out every team because they really want to prove themselves, and they're putting in the work. They're putting in that legwork that they really need to, that most teams don't seem to really understand. But they are going to go for a pusher. They have that Baron, and they have the ability to easily dive under these turrets right now with just how tanky Kubon is and Makata on top of that. And there it goes.
Look how fast the turret dies as well. As you said, that front line of Olaf and Udyr is more than enough to stop what CLG can throw at them right now. And to be honest, CLG can't afford to push out. We just did see the fear coming down, and there is the kill coming down. Snoopy going to get stunned. There's another brilliant crescendo. 2 men dead. There is the third. It's a double kill coming out of Charu with Katarina. They're going to take the first Nexus turret. Second one going to fall here as well. Yellow Pete will throw his ulti across to us to try and slow this down. Well, the Nexus will fall, and Meet Your Maker's going to start off with a victory here in Group B of the Intel Extreme Masters Cologne, taking down CLG.eu, and you can see just how happy they are from that one. Thoroughly deserved. Mega aggressive play across the whole map in that early game, and I think they can safely say they have arrived, and they are going to be, well, the favourites for the group, I'd say, coming out now after taking down CLG.eu. I'm sure that the other teams in the group will have something to say about it, though.
As Demon was saying, you see Libic on the left side of your screen, very huge Polish team, and clearly he can easily carry his team on the back, because every crescendo in that fight, or the entire game, was perfect. Even the last one, he caught the edge of Snoopy, they blew him up, got Char with that reset, and they look very happy. The question is for me, Joe, have they played against any Korean teams? I don't reckon that they have.
No.
Yeah, and that's a big thing.
Well, actually, they did. Because they played against a Korean team at WCG in 2011. The game's completely different by now. But recently, no. And I think that could be one thing that maybe comes back to haunt them. But this team's dedicated, you know, they want to win things, and for sure they've been watching streams. They'll have been, I mean, CJ Entus is actually, out of the 2 Korean teams here, the easiest to prepare for in my book. We've seen them playing a lot over in OGN Winter already. I think they've already played like 10 maps or so over there. So there's still a lot available on CJ Entus. The team yesterday, obviously, SK Telecom were the hard one to prepare for, because no one really knew what was going to come out of them. But Meet Your Makers here, playing against CLG, first game of the day, 18-3 in kills, 28-minute game. You can see CLG there having a talk about things. They're certainly not down and out of the tournament just yet. It's only 1 game after all, but their next 2 games are not easy either. You've got Alternate in there, you've got CJ Entus in there, 2 very, very strong teams who will definitely be a threat in this group. But Meet Your Makers, I don't want to take anything away from them about about CLG too much, because they were just fantastic.
They were amazing. And it looks like we're going to go back to the expert desk, the analysis desk, with Demon, Arane, and Xenon the Stoic.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We are here at the Intel Extreme Masters in Cologne. What a stomp! And absolutely destroyed CLG.eu. Perhaps you guys should not have been shopping this morning. Maybe you should have been here practicing along with Crepo and Frog, and they were here nice and early. Where was everyone else? But I'm not too sure how much that would have helped.
Maybe they should have watched IEM Singapore as well, because I asked Crepo and Frog this morning. They were like, no, we didn't watch those games. No, it's fine.
Meet Your Makers have gotten strong.
They're kind of good.
They have gotten strong. Joe mentioned himself in the stream, you know, we've cast these guys for so long. They, in Poland, in WCG 2011, you know, they was proved how strong they were. Yeah. They got 2nd place against Chicks Digilo. They beat the Canadian team, which was Hotshot and co. They knocked them out. They were big, strong with those pink wards, and they've been an up-and-coming team ever since. We knew sooner or later, and we mentioned it when we were in Singapore, they got this victory. Is this going to give them the confidence to carry on? And you could hear them, you could see them on the screens, how much that meant to them. They wanted that game, and that's maybe even just put them in pole position for the group.
I think I heard a Davai in the end, and I think
that was Russian. That was Russian. That was completely Russian. I just think like MYM just studied CLD, and CLD did pretty much nothing. Like, they didn't study MYM at all, and MYM like had a paper of what is CLD gonna do in every single moment. That was especially what we had on Gamescom at SK. Like, we knew pretty much what CLD is gonna do, and CLD didn't know what we're gonna do. So it's pretty much, I don't know. It's probably
is that an argument about the traveling? Is that an argument about just traveling too much, too many tournaments, not having chance to prepare?
It's probably more about being overconfident to a tournament, more than traveling. You can travel and you're gonna still like getting videos. You're gonna still like watching replays. You're gonna still doing that. It's not about that's not a problem. The problem is being overconfident.
Overconfidence. Well, Meet Your Makers. We have an interview with them. I believe it was going to be Makata. I saw him heading towards Zoe.
Thank you very much, guys. I now have one of the guys from the winning team joining me. Of course, it is Makate. Give it up for the guys, please. Give it up. That basically means the audience. Yeah, okay. It's okay. They still started, so we can still practice it a little bit. And of course, I have But I Love You joining me once more for the post-match interview. That was rather convincing, if I may say so. You guys won the IEM Singapore already. How much time did you have to prepare for this event now?
Honestly, we didn't prepare that much for Cologne because we put a lot of work to prepare for Singapore. And since many teams at Singapore cancelled their participation, we didn't use everything we got there because we didn't need to. So being prepared for Singapore made us being prepared for Cologne as well. So this is how it worked.
All right, well, walk us through the picks and bans. What did you want to really, kind of secure for your team and take away from CLG during that?
Sorry again?
During the picks and bans, what did you really want to focus on taking for your team and, for your play style and taking out of CLG's play style?
It wasn't that much about picks, I think. We just picked what we like, usually. Of course, it had to work. It had to have enough CC, engage and stuff, but it wasn't our main goal. Our main goal was the kind of play style, not just the picks. Picks were just what we like and what we do.
Was that the reason why you went for this super aggressive play style, since you were so confident with the picks you picked?
Yeah, pretty much.
That was a short answer.
All right, well, what was your kind of mindset early game? Because we did see that level 1, actually it wasn't level 1, but it was a very early gank, 3-man gank at the bot lane. We saw Charu teleport in on a wicket, and you shut him down. After that, was that like the, hey guys, we can do this, we can go for our hyper-aggressive play, get that top turret down, move over to bottom, and kind of work your way around?
Playing aggressive is what we like and what we always want to do. Sometimes you're just getting behind from the start, and you cannot play aggressive, because you will end up failing. So if we had opportunity to play aggressive, we just wanted to use it. It's more fun, it's what we enjoy, and if we enjoy the game, it's just easier.
And now that you have CLG out of the way, who else are you looking forward to in this group stage?
Now we'll be facing, I think, Korean team CLG.eu, but I'm not really sure. We didn't manage to play against them ever. So it's hard to predict the outcome, but yeah, we'll do our very best.
That sounds nice. So we, of course, wish you good luck with that. Thanks a lot for joining us for the interview. We give it over for a quick commercial break, and afterwards we're back with the community talk.